Hello everyone! So the third part of episode 79 will soon be here, and I already know what's going to happen in it. Yeah, I just know it. We got the new leak and more info from Boom himself, so let's dive right into this. Okay, so after what we saw in the first two parts of episode 79, things are looking absolutely terrifying for the Alliance. The cameraman's base was completely obliterated with the special brutality, and plenty of tragic stuff happened to some of the most beloved skibidi toilet characters, including Plunger Camera Woman and Polycephaly, our GOAT. Astro Duchess and the Watchmen of Doom led this raid that tore through everything in their path, leaving the Alliance weaker than ever before, and I mean the entire series. Plunger Camera Woman is gone. Polycephaly and Jackson Toilet seem to meet his tragic end too, while countless of other agents got nearly destroyed and badly injured, and their chances for survival are not that high either. And the loss of the cameraman's headquarters means the Alliance no longer has a stronghold to regroup and strategize. At first glance, this feels like a total defeat. But is it really the end of the road for the good guys? What if I'll tell you there are still some hidden tricks and secret plans which can lead to unexpected reinforcements that might shift the balance once again? So, let me explain to you now a few possible ways the Alliance could recover after such a disaster. So, the very first option that comes to mind is connected to Polyphile TV man. Now, a lot of fans assumed his death was final because based on the final part of the episode that is released so far, it seemed like there was literally no other way for him to survive. And besides, his passing was sort of well known even prior to the second part release, as his injured face was featured in one of the most important leaks, as well as Camera Woman standing on the ground with her guns put in front of her own very head. Boom really advertised all the tragedies that were about to happen in this episode beforehand, so when it happened, we were already prepared for that. Well, as it turned out though, he didn't even give us some proper time to grieve, because you know what happened just about a few weeks after the second part release? Boom gives us the very first leak for the upcoming third part, and it depicts Polyphile TV man again, and I've noticed several important details in this image. First of all, the quality was not great, so it looks like a raw image from the under-animated episode, which is fine. But second of all, this actually seems like a trickery by Boom, because I am almost certain that this frame actually comes from the timeline of full episode 77, at least based on the background behind Polycephaly's figure. But the most important detail is focused on the thing that Polycephaly holds, and as Boom wrote himself, it seems to be a certain tracking device. Now I have several things to say here. First of all, does this leak means that we're about to see some flashbacks, including Polycephaly figure that can be tracked back to episode 77? Or does this actually mean that Polycephaly is not gone for good? Because otherwise, why would Boom put a salt on our wounds caused by this guy's passing in the most recent episode? Is there an actual chance for him to return? Was his passing actually faked altogether? And if so, what purpose does it actually serve for the Alliance? Now let me break everything, step by step. So overall, that little tracking device detail changes basically everything. To me, it implies that Larry's passing wasn't actually real, and instead it could have been a part of some bigger plan, but staged by whom? Was it an actual plan by the Alliance? Or maybe it was a secret way for backup in the worst-case scenario, staged by TV men and speaker men? Wait, what? You can ask me. Well, here you go. Imagine Polycephaly pretending to fall in battle, only to secretly use that tracking device to lure the key Astro Toilet leaders into a certain trap. And maybe in the leak, we are actually seeing the scene from the flashback dating us back to episode 77, where Polycephaly would show this tracking device to another important character, or to the new POV the third part of episode 79 will be viewed from. And it is possible that later, after the events of the first two parts of episode 79, this tracking device will be shown again to play a very important role in the plot. As I've already said, I'd expect Polycephaly to actually fake his passing in order to get Astro Leader figures to a trap. And who could be waiting at the end of that trap, you might ask? Of course, the most requested comeback in the community, by which I mean upgraded Titan Speakerman, and moreover, if the Speakerman's armada is truly prepared for a counterattack, Polycephaly's role as bait might be the key to turning the tables at this point. But there's also another angle to this, so let's get back to the timeline part real quick. What if that shot with Polycephaly was indeed not from part 3 of episode 79 itself, but from full episode 77. Meaning that the upcoming Part 3 is only going to feature a special flashback scene including Polycephaly character and not anything else. By which I mean, this possible flashback scene does not guarantee that Polycephaly might still be alive by the events of Part 3, but it would mean at the very least that he had this secret device during the events of episode 79 that is about to play some bigger role by the end of episode 79. In that case, Boom could be preparing us for a really massive lore drop. Flashbacks could reveal how the Alliance secretly set up contingencies in case their HQ was destroyed. And maybe Polycephaly left behind some coded instructions for surviving agents. Maybe Camera Woman's supposed death wasn't what it looked like either, and her fate will finally be explained in further episodes. But something tells me her case would be revealed by Boom much later than episode 79. Another possibility that fits Boom's style is an unexpected upgrade. Every time the Alliance seems cornered, there's usually some kind of erratic evolution, like when Titan Cinema Man and Titan Speaker Man gained their upgrades, or when Titan TV Man appeared for the very first time in the series, when the Alliance had it real tough with skibidi toilets and needed some reinforcements ASAP. And it can be applied to so-called negative progression as well, like when Watchmen of Doom forcefully shifted forms, though unfortunately to the enemy side. Okay, so what if now is the perfect time for an entirely new Titan-class ally to be revealed? Whether it's Titan Speakerman's long-awaited return, or the new upgraded hybrid soldier/mini Titan, or even assistance from a brand new faction like the Computermen. Although I've already touched on this possibility in my main episode analysis, so I won't be diving into way too much details about that. Truth is that, though, this could still be some pretty shocking twist that could definitely save the Alliance when all hope seems lost. Okay, and now I've also got to discuss some big news related to Part 3 of Episode 79 that I didn't have time to cover up earlier, but let's make up for this now. So recently, Boom received 2 new letters from 2 different skibidi toilet fans coming to his email box, and oh boy. I would just honestly tell you guys that both of these letters and Boom's answers were a huge wall of text, and not all of this is particularly interesting. So I decided to cut that stuff down a bit, and to leave only the most important stuff to you all so that you guys wouldn't lose your focus. Okay, so the first letter that Boom received came from a particularly agitated fan who, wasn't that happy about certain plot twists during the second part of episode 79. So basically, this fan listed a bunch of criticisms regarding Boom's decision to lore approach in his recent episodes. He mentioned how the Astro Toilets were introduced as a mighty interstellar empire that should be vastly stronger than anything on Earth, and yet their actions don't reflect that power at all. Despite being shown as all-powerful, they continually fail to finish off the Alliance or skibidi toilets when they had some pretty clear opportunities. In episode 74 alone, they could have easily destroyed the cameraman's base, eliminated G-Toilet, or overwhelmed the Titans, yet instead they allowed their enemies to escape and left key targets untouched. Questions also remain about why Titan Cameraman survived much longer than expected, while Titan TV Man was destroyed quickly in episode 77. Even their commander, aka UFO Toilet, comes across as careless and ineffective, losing battles in strange ways, such as against a ghost town in Oregon. Altogether, it feels like the Astros are being deliberately restricted by the plot itself, because otherwise their overwhelming power would have ended the series much earlier. And, well, Boom had something to say about this. And his response was just huge, y'all. So I cut it down a bit as well, because otherwise I would be reading it aloud to you the whole day. So Boom said that the Astro Toilets have already conquered most of the Earth, while the Alliance is forced into hiding and relying on guerrilla tactics to survive. Earth as a planet is still vast, though, and even with all their carriers combined, the Astro fleet present isn't nearly enough to cover the whole planet, which makes tracking down the Alliance a slow process. Despite the Astro's overwhelming power, the Alliance holds out thanks to intelligence, determination, and strong allies, though they are on the verge of collapse. The Astros are also cautious because the G-Toilet opposes them, and they don't yet fully understand the true strength of the Alliance, which makes them hesitant to attack too aggressively. On top of that, the Alliance is beginning to develop weapons that could finally counter Astro forces, meaning the war isn't as one-sided as it may seem. From a storytelling perspective, if the Astros simply crushed everyone instantly, there would be no tension or plot, as the struggle and resistance are what keep the series engaging. And I'm not going to speak way too long about this, because I see the reasoning behind both the words of Boom and also some of the criticisms coming from his fan. I think Boom has his reasons to move the plot the way he does, as this is his true artistic vision we should respect. And I definitely agree with him about how his fans could have used less hostility while displaying their criticisms. Everyone should be always respectful and civil, especially about the stuff we all enjoy at the end of the day. Okay, and the second letter that Boom received was actually much more interesting. So he was simply asked a straight list of lore-related questions that sounded like this. Hello, Mr. Boom. Hope you are having a good day and good luck with the new episode. I was wondering, could you reveal the email of that salty guy from the last letter who was holding his hostility towards you? I have a few questions on these things. Will any speakermen or TV men be part of the Secret Agents Collective? What happened to Lucky Cameraman? Was he teleported away? Please take breaks after episodes for your well-being. Is upgraded Titan TV Man taller than the other Titans? And what can you tell us about upgraded Titan Speakerman 3.0 and his response to being allied with G-Toilet if he's alive by then? To which Boom replied with the following statement, "They will reveal themselves if they want." It indeed felt salty, though I wouldn't assess it from just one email. But from what I was sent before, apparently this guy, who only ever engages in the skibidi toilet community when it comes to either hate skibidi toilet, criticizing its fandom, the series, or myself. I don't mind criticism at all, and I appreciate it. But if there's nothing positive you have to say, and you dislike the show in all its aspects, why would you stay in fandom for years in the first place, just to constantly dunk on it? It just feels like a weird, miserable existence. Go find something you really like and engage there. Guy's also apparently friends with that creeper avatar guy who is exactly the same, but worse. Definition of anti-fans. As for other questions, first, anything's possible. Second, you will probably find out. Third, take breaks, you mean, is that all after a month of wait? Fourth, upgraded Titan TV Man was the tallest. And fifth, how'd you expect it to go? All in all, his response was cryptic as usual, and didn't reveal anything regarding the third part of the episode in particular, but at least it's good to know that the episode is about to come out pretty soon, given Boom's joke regarding the breaks. It was also pretty interesting to get his perspective on the guy that wrote to him one email earlier. The skibidi toilet fandom lore intensifies, I guess. Okay, and I would like to finish this video with the following phrase. Let's not forget Boom's love for double meanings and trolling his own fans. So it really wouldn't surprise me at all if some of the confirmed deaths would turn out to be simply staged later in the series. Maybe the Alliance themselves decided to fake losses, scattering survivors in order to regroup elsewhere while keeping Astro Duchess convinced she still won. And if true, Hat would give them time to build up a counterstrike, like the one that could be so devastating it flips the war entirely. And at the end of the day, the destruction of the HQ and the loss of so many major characters feels like the Alliance is cornered. But knowing how unpredictable Boom is, I highly doubt he'll just let them fade away. Something big, and I mean something shockingly big, simply has to happen in Part 3 of Episode 79. Whether it's Polycephale's survival, Titan Speakerman's return, secret flashbacks, or a whole new level of reinforcements, I think the Alliance still has a chance to fight back for real. But that's just my take on it. And what do you guys think about all of this? Could Polycephale really be alive? Will Titan Speakerman finally make his grand comeback? Or is Boom setting us up for an even crazier twist that nobody can predict? Let me know your theories down in the comments. And as always, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more skibidi toilet content while we are waiting for the Part 3 of Episode 79 to finally get released. And that was me, ISOTOILET. See ya!